Even though Word is capable of producing very elegant and professional documents, the kind of mirrors documents that would be made in a regular page layout program, its core is still word processing, and that means type. The days of plain old Times New Roman 12-point type with no elegance or anything to it are gone, though, and we can and are almost required to enhance our documents through type. Why do I say required? Well, because our audience these days are demanding. Whether it's family members, classmates, coworkers, or customers, everyone these days wants content to be visually appealing as well as effectively communicate whatever the message is that you're trying to communicate. One of the ways that we can do this is by using the rich set of typography tools that Word offers. One of the things that I'd like to do is make my text a little bit more exciting without necessarily doing full word art or using graphics. I'm currently in my document, and I'm just going to close down my navigation pane to give me some more room. And I'm going to scroll down to where I know I have a copy of my logo that's followed additionally by the address of our company. It should be at the bottom of page 7. What I notice is that You Got It training that's part of the logo, and I'll click on that just to show you that that's a whole picture, that actually has some stylized text. Below it, though, our address, our email address, and our website are plain text. If I go to the Home tab, I can quickly and easily see that it happens to be Arial 12-point. What if I want to jazz this up a little bit? Well, 2010 gives me the ability to do that a lot more easily than I ever could before because it's simply the same as adding bold or italics. Now, we all know that there are some keyboard shortcuts, but if I wanted to do it via the ribbon, I know that I could just click on bold, italics, or underline. A little bit further to the right in the ribbon, we also see that there's now a new feature for adding text effects. Text effects allow us with single clicks to add things like shadows, bevels, glows, and reflections to our text, just like we do to our images. So I'll click this so I can see the gallery, and we can see there's a whole variety of things, and again, if you pause over it, you get to see a live preview of that. And I'm thinking that if I choose maybe this one that's kind of in the third row, third one over from the right, gradient fill with gray and outline, that kind of looks sort of like the text that's already in my logo. So I'll give it a click. Now, even though I've applied that, doesn't mean I have to stick with the presets. If I want to take off the bolding, for example, I can simply turn that off. So all of my bolding features, all of my other formatting features still work the same, but with one click, I was able to stylize this text using a text effect by using the new feature. Word 2010 also supports a feature called Open Type Features, and I want to show you where to find that. So in order to do this, I can't simply use the ribbon. I actually have to access the dialog box launcher for formatting fonts. This might be a little bit of a test question if you haven't done it for a while. Question is, when I go up here to the ribbon and I have all of these tools, if I'm not seeing something, how do I see the good old dialog box that used to be from Format Font? Answer is to click the lower right corner of the group. So I'll click on that, bring up the dialog, and go to the Advanced tab. What we see here is an entire section, in addition to regular character spacing, called Open Type Features. OpenType is a cross-platform format for scalable computer fonts, and it's kind of the union, if you will, of TrueType fonts and PostScript fonts that you may have heard of before. These have been popular for forever, and through a joint effort by Microsoft and Adobe, they built this new format. It was built on the TrueType relationship, using TrueType's basic structure, but then it added a lot of other intricate little structures that we can have for specific types of typography. You can see here that this gets into a little bit of detail. We have things called ligatures, we have number spacing, we have number forms, we have stylistic sets, and we can even use contextual alternatives, and it will provide you a preview. I actually teach a full 2-day course just on typography where we spend a lot of time with this. So needless to say, there's no way for me to teach you that much background in the time and space we have here and to do it any justice. I also know that a majority of people really don't care to know that much about this, but I wanted to mention that it is an enhancement available for those who are interested. I've also put a PDF that details some of these features on my website, www.pckeys.com/cbt/word2010.htm. You also can find a link for that in the Chapter 4 folder. So even though we're not going to go into all of the details about this, you now know where it is. I'm going to go ahead and cancel out of the dialog. And I do want to show you one more thing. I'm going to go ahead and scroll up into my document back to page 2. On page 2 is where we have the table for delivery methods. These are actually two tables, one for delivery methods and one for ILT or instructor-led training delivery models. We know that enhancing text and even adding images to documents makes it more exciting for people who are going to view the document. But we can't forget the opposite is true for people with visual disabilities. For them, having too many graphical features becomes a detriment. So we can actually enhance that in 2010 by using a new feature, or maybe I should just say an enhancement to an existing feature. We've always been able to add alternate text to images, at least always as in the last couple of versions or so. But now we can actually add alternate text to tables as well. In order to show you that, I'm going to go ahead and select the table. And then I'm going to bring up the table properties. You could do that a couple of different ways. I'm going to right-click and go to Table Properties at the bottom of the shortcut menu. You'll notice that now we have an additional tab. For a long time, we've of course had the Table tab, the Row tab, the Column tab, and the Cell tab, but the new one is at the very end called Alt Text or Alternate Text. I'll go ahead and click there, and I'll put in the title, which is called Training Delivery Methods. In addition to just the simple text, I can also put in a description. I might type, "This table explains or defines the different types of delivery methods for computer training." Now that I've done a little bit of typing, I also want to draw your attention down to where it actually gives us the explanation for alternate text. Not only does it include the help for people with disabilities, but there's a couple other things that it mentions as well. Web browsers display alternative text while tables are loading. Now this is just a very simple table, so it shouldn't take any time to load, but if it was more complex and had many rows and columns, then the alternate text would display while they're waiting for that. We also can see that web search engines sometimes use the alternate text to help find stuff. So when search engines come in and they find a whole table, they don't want to index every entry in that table. But in this case, they'll be able to index it, or people will be able to find this document by searching for things like training or delivery methods or training methods. I think you get the idea. In any event, you should be making alternative text for your images and your tables a standard part of your document design. It's not only important for people with disabilities, but especially if you're putting things out for the public and you're putting things on the internet, you kind of get all of these different benefits and advantages to your document, primarily that people can actually use it and find it by simply entering a few sentences. I'll go ahead and click OK. And that's all there is to it. We went into Properties, we typed in a title, and we typed in a description. I do realize that all of these aren't the most exciting things that you can do on your computer. But between alternative text, open type features, and text effects, we at least have three new ways or three new tools that we can work with text in our documents to make them more accessible, to make them more enjoyable, and to make them more effective.